I'm Dana Holgorsen. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Okay, welcome. Much like last week at this time, I think our football team's in a place where the most important thing is to get to Saturday at noon and get out and play football. Especially early in the year, the focus is always on us. It was last week. I thought we did a great job of, just preparing the way that we always do, practicing the way that we always do, and our guys were excited about playing. I don't think this week will be any different. We got a plan for what we do on Tuesdays. I think we're anxious to get out there and practice this afternoon and get back on schedule. We had to give them 2 days off, which is rare for in season based on how the games were aligned and all that. We had to give them off Sunday and Monday based on NCAA rules and regulations. So I think everybody's pretty anxious about getting started back again today. So we'll take today and go over all the video. Really haven't had an opportunity to go through that with the guys. There was, a ton of snaps in that game, whether it was special teams or offense, defense, and we played a lot of guys, played upwards of 62 guys, I believe is what it was. So there's a lot we can learn on from that. So we will, focus hard on watching that video and getting outside and trying to improve. We still got a lot of improvements to do. Don't care what the score of that game was. We got a lot of improvements that we got to work on and focus on. This is a great week to be able to do that. And like I said, don't care who we're playing. I think we'll be excited about attacking the week the appropriate way and getting to another noon kick. I mean, I love noon kicks. Those things, those are a lot of fun. So that the sooner it gets here, the better. So Saturday at noon, we're going to line up and we're going to try to improve. That's our goal this week. So, we always talk about respecting our opponent. Delaware State's no different than Virginia Tech when it comes to the 140 guys that are in this room. We got a bunch of video that we can watch, and we'll scheme them up based on what they do on all three sides of the ball. We'll practice against specific things. We will, do the same thing that we do each and every week. And we expect our guys to line up on Saturday and try to, focus on ourselves at this point in the season and try to improve. That's the message this week. So, I'm not going to answer a whole lot of questions when it comes to how are we going to approach the week. It's pretty simple. We already have a plan for how we're going to approach it, and that's what's going to happen. So that's what I expect our guys to do. Questions?
Dean, from the outside, your offense obviously played really well, especially the first half. From watching film, though, any nitpicky things you saw that you still think you need to improve upon on that side?
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. We're on the ground way too much. You can't be a good football player if you're on the ground. We had O-linemen on the ground left and right. Guys out of control, guys cutting when they're not supposed to cut, guys falling down. It's impossible to block or tackle when you're on the ground. Try it. It's tough, right? So we a lot of that. There's a lot of things that, Will played good, missed a couple of throws. That's nitpicky stuff. Our backs, I thought, did a good job of hitting the the hole. We ran decent routes. Our backups were sloppy. I don't know if it was because of the score at halftime or whatever it was, but I felt like our second team guys went out there and missed out on opportunities to improve. I can't say that about Chugs. I thought he looked as good as he's looked since I've been here. But a lot of the receivers dropped balls. A lot of the old linemen didn't stay on blocks. They were on the ground way too much. Defensively, guys leaving their feet, launching as opposed to tackling the way that we want them to tackle. Not playing the ball in the air. Safeties missed way too many tackles. Our D-line was on the ground too much. You can't fill gaps or make tackles if you're on the ground. Special teams wise, there are a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to our specialists is where they're putting the ball. You know, that's an issue. Thought our coverage units and return units were better. But with that said, the consistency from our actual punters and kickers need to improve. So I took that question in about 3 different directions, didn't I? Okay.
Thoughts on what you got out of Josh Sills after the film review?
Played like a redshirt freshman. You know, he's big. He's tough. He's going to be a great player for us. You know, he's similar to where Colton was last year as a redshirt freshman. Yeah, I can't begin to explain how many things he's got to work on. So, you know, glad he's here. He's going to work hard and all that, but he needs to stay on his feet and do what we ask him to do. And he's got a long ways to go to get to the point to where I can say he's done. He's going to do that.
You rotated people even in the first half. Like I said, offensive line, you've got a couple guys, and so you're starting to try to find some depth. Are you finding it, or is it still very much a work in progress?
It's still very much a work in progress. You know, we got a couple of guys on the shelf that we need to get back at some point. And, you know, Butch Grossi and Grant Lingefelter are guys that can play for us right now. I got to see how they're doing here this week, whether they're going to play this week, next week, or into the bye week. Hopefully it doesn't last that long. Got to get those guys back, you know. Kelby Wickline got in there and played a good bit of tackle snaps. You know, he's our 3rd option at tackle. You know, Isaiah Hardy took some snaps. He has no idea which direction he's going. He's just big and he can cover people up. That's why last week was good and be able to rotate those guys. I wasn't really excited about cutting a couple of D linemen just absolutely loose when our starting quarterback's in there. That can't happen. Can't whiff and let guys run through the A and the B gap when he's sitting back there. Happened a couple of times too much. But with that said, I mean, that's what you're going to get when you're playing young guys. You know, in a perfect world, you'd have all juniors and seniors playing up front. It's not the situation we're in, so those guys got to get better now.
Dan, I don't suspect you're going to share what you're learning about with the GPS and the tracking technology and all that. But practically, how are you using it for, I'm guessing, wrestling players or recovery or things like that, whatever you get out of it tangibly?
Yeah, it monitors one, how long they're going, how far they're going, but it also measures how hard they're going for that period of time. There is a difference in walking 10 miles and sprinting 10 miles. You know, I can walk 10 miles in about a week. Gary Jennings sprinted 10 miles against Virginia Tech. That's problematic. So we monitor it pretty much every time we work out. I mean, if it's Sunday night or Tuesday's practice or Wednesday's practice or Thursday's walkthrough or Friday's practice, we measure how far and how long and how hard they're going. And what the thing that I like about it, which has become neat, is we post these numbers in the weight room, and the players sit there and compare it with, you know, how fast they're going to their buddy or how long they went compared to their buddies, and they kind of compete with it a little bit. And you can really tell if a guy was kind of dogging it that day or if he was going hard that day. Those numbers support what you see on video a lot. So I think the more we know about it, the more we're going to use it. Those numbers, when they were approached to me 2 years ago, I mean, it meant nothing. You know, now I can look at it and I can see some things. And we're still learning about it too. So I think it's a valuable tool that'll continue to have more value as we move forward.
I mean, as far as the hardware, do they have a Fitbit? I mean, how is it?
They have a bra. It's like a sports bra. Yeah. Yeah, it's got a little thing in the back. It's like a little key fob. It's about that big. It kind of goes here. When I was down watching the Texans, they had it sewn into their practice jersey, a little zipper or something like that. But our guys were like, it looks like a sports bra, especially on some of the linemen.
Dan, you guys used Kenny Robinson at corner the other day, so he'd been at free safety before. What did you see out of him that you said, hey, we think he could help us at corner?
Gibby wanted to do that initially. We felt like we needed more safety help than corner help at the time. Needed to get him in here to kind of see what we had. But when we recruited him, we're like, I think that guy might be a corner. Felt the same way about Pitts too. We thought he might be a corner. Just long, athletic guys that can run. You know, we've had a lot of success with those corners. You know, with Worley and Rasul. So Gibby brought it up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't matter to me. I mean, he's playing. He's not going to beat any of the safeties out we got right now. And Kenny wants to compete right now. So he's been lining up at corner for about a week. So, you know, and he got in there and competed. You know, didn't look very good, but he competed. We'll keep coaching him up. I like our competition at corner. Everybody's like, you guys aren't very good at corner. I was like, well, I disagree with that. I think we're pretty good at corner, and we got a lot of competition going on. So those guys, a lot of them who played last year for us and played pretty well, will continue to improve. They need to compete. And as you know, we're going to need more than two, I can assure you that. So they need to compete, and, you know, guys that improve will get more snaps.
Can you let us know what kind of emotions and feelings you have about what's going on with Kevin White now, again?
Yeah, I mean, he's my guy. I mean, I talk to him all the time. Got a great relationship. You know, support him, talk to him. You know, love him. All the rest of it. You know, when what are you gonna say? I mean, when you make the decision to play football, there's risk with injuries, whether they're short-term injuries or they're long-term injuries or whatever it is. It's not fair, and you never can tell when or why, but just put your head down and keep moving forward. He's as positive as anybody I've ever coached, and he's optimistic. So you can't ask why in situations like that. You just got to do what you got to do to get back out there, you know. But, you know, talk to him and support him. There's no doubt about that.
You've had two receivers between Stedman and him who, you know, look like they had great careers. And
yeah, but, you know, Bob, that's no different than hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other guys, too. It's just a part of the game. I mean, that's just guys that we are very, very, very familiar with. But, I mean, there was 1,300 NFL players that got cut 10 days ago. It's competitive, and it's a business. And that's just the way it is. It's one reason why I love college football.
You're getting more of what you want out of the blocking on punt return?
Yeah, it did improve. It did. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but we did a better job of fielding punts. I recognize that. You know, both Marcus and Tevin made two really good catches on punts. I mean, those were not easy catches, two of them. And then there was three of them that were easy catches because the guy actually punted it back 45, 46 yards, and they had space to catch it other than the one time where he got his head taken off. But the two times that they caught it, one time where we got a 20-some yard return, and then Tevin, where he didn't return it, had a lot of space in front of him. That's just a young guy that's not wanting to make a mistake right now. We haven't had that much space in a long time. So, yes, improvement, and we need to build on that.
What do you think about Marcus on his first game back? I mean, I know he's been practicing, so it wasn't like he's been on a sabbatical or anything, but pretty good route running.
He caught a post route. It was a good post route. It was a great throw. What he brings to the table is he brings speed, which we need. You know, and I liked what I saw out of Reggie too, with his speed and the physical nature with what he played with. And he can run too. We need guys out there that can stretch things. you know, David gets behind people because he's creative, but those guys can get behind people and scare people on video because they can run so fast. You know, Marcus needs to be a lot more consistent than what he's proven here over the year and a half that he's been here. He caught 1 pass. And over the course of his career, he's caught, what, 4? I ain't ready to talk about that. Now, he did do a good job of fielding the punts and did a good job on kickoff. He needs to quit hesitating. If he catches the kicks and goes that way as fast as he can, he may have scored on both of them. By no means does he have things figured out. He's got to keep working hard, but I'm glad he's in a good place to where he's working hard.
When you first put Sills at wide receiver, was that an experiment, or what did you see that said this kid might have a career there? I mean, was there?
Well, I recruited him because he's tall and athletic and has a great football mind and is a great teammate and understands football as good as anybody I've been around for a 18-year-old kid. You know, we do this with when we have guys on scout team, we put guys everywhere. When we're using David Israel at receiver and running back on scout team at times based on need, done it with Crest for a long time, did it with David, do it with whoever's available to give guys good looks. And 2 years ago, we did that with David, and Gibby wouldn't quit ranting and raving about him. Just how athletic he is. I'm like, I know that. He's got great hands. I go, well, I didn't know that. Runs great routes, can't cover him. Well, that's good news. So we just started repping him at receiver. And I told him then, I was like, you commit to this, you could play for a long time. I really believed that. He didn't, which is why he wanted to continue to play quarterback. But once he put that to rest, he's the hardest working guy I've been around. He shows up every day and listens to everything that's being said to try to pick up on something to become a better player. So based on that, he probably will continue to get better.
Dan, how I think people think speed and getting vertical is largely outside players, but your inside guys have been able to stretch the field too. How much does that help? The outside guys are also just the overall attack on offense.
Yeah, it's important when you're in 3 and 4 wide sets, you know, especially 4 wide sets, to make them, you know, especially Jake's doing a good job of making them cover the whole field. That opens up a lot of space in the middle. When you're more pro style, when you're more like what we did, whatever we did the last couple of years, it obviously makes those outside guys pretty important because they're the only ones you're playing with. So in a pro style offense, when you're using tight ends and fullbacks and 2-backs and run game, then it's important for those guys to stretch it outside. When you're sideline to sideline and you're doing a lot of the things that we're doing right now, it's every bit as important to be able to stretch it on the inside, which is what Gary's doing right now. So it's just a different style of offense.
What becomes your biggest concern about Saturday when you're facing an opponent like this?
Same thing we always face when we play on Saturday. Guys being in the right frame of mind to be able to go out there and improve and do their job to the best of their ability. I don't care who we play.